When people think of electronic dance music, one of the biggest artists that spring to mind is Skrillex. In this video, I uncover 5 of Skrillex's biggest production secrets to make this track.
Smoke up, dash in the blem, free up the guys and dip out the ends. Jump in the ride, then burn out the rims. Don't stop, don't cut, the boy that I'm in. Now he's on the block, hoodie up for events. Skin kept close, cause he plotting on them with the tips on 10. Batch in the back, that's on tap, all ready to go and jump in. What's up, teaching video Rick?
As usual, you can download this project file completely free below, but whilst you watch through this video, I really want you to write down in the comments each secret as and when you see it happen. This will really cement the concepts in your mind so you can use them in your music. I want to say a huge shout out to our accelerator student Jesse, aka 9 Worlds, who recently did an official remix for Elenium. I've linked to it below if you want to check it out. Now the track we're working on today is based on the collaboration between Skrillex, Fred Again and Floden and their killer track Rumble. So without further ado, let's hop into the door and get it done. It's good to be back. Right, first thing we need to do is set the tempo. For this dubstep kind of tempo, we are going to set 140 BPM, and I've got 2 magic lists today, which is nice. I've got some tips and I've got some secrets. So first thing we are going to do is, rather than put the kick in, which is the standard thing, I wanted to get straight to the rumble bass because this is such an important part of this track that I want to touch upon it soon for anyone that's going to click away anyway, but I recommend you stay to the end. So first let's get a simpler on there, and we're going to create that pulsing low end using a kick drum first of all. So let's find a kick drum that's got some nice texture. That one sounds pretty cool, so I'm just going to use that, and let's program it in MIDI, and we want them to be on every 16th, just like this, after the first beat, because that's where our growl bass is going to go. So it sounds dodgy at the moment, but we are going to make it better. Don't you worry. Don't you worry, son. So let's bring it down to a good level, and that's going to determine the kind of key of the track as well. I mean, it all works really, doesn't it? Now what we're going to do is take out the high end of this. I'm going to choose a different frequency so we can add some drive, a different filter type, I mean. So we're already getting that cool sound. Now locking in your low end transients is even more important than the high end transients, because the low end causes such big waves that it can really sound muddy if we don't lock it in. So first thing I'm going to do is change the voices to 1, because we don't want these bass hits overlapping each other. And then I'm going to take down the sustain and make it a bit more punchy. Something like that. That's already sounding cool. Let's open it up a tiny bit. And then what I'm going to do is add one of these drum buses to just add some extra grit, some more drive. And then I'm going to use this boom control to add some low end harmonics as well. Now we can just dial back the decay on that and listen to the difference it makes. And we'll take the transients down. Now we'll leave those how they were. So this is where we were, and this is where we are now. So just a bit more oomph. Next thing I want to do is double this up. So I'm going to create a second rumble bass, and again I'm going to use a kick, but instead of having the low end, I'm going to use the mid-range of the kick. I'm going to use a different kick as well, just to add some more texture. I want a nice kind of, yeah, like that. Like an acoustic sounding kick. So let's get rid of this drum bus now, and let's listen to this. So that's going to give us that mid knock. So I'm going to take out the low end so it doesn't fight with our low end sub kind of kick, that rumble there, because we're just looking for that mid-range texture. Something like that. Again, I'll add a little bit of saturation. Tighten it up. Okay, cool. Next thing I want to do is add a little bit more stereo width. So this is the only tool I'm going to use, but it is a free tool. The only tool outside of the Ableton stock plugins, I mean. So it's the Ozone Imager, and I'm just going to use this to really spread this wider. Oof. So there we go. We've got this really nice textured bass now. Ooh. And that's what a Skrillex, what does that mean? That's what Skrillex is an absolute master of. Careful layering and complicated ideas that just deliver complicated techniques to deliver one simple idea. So that's what I call simplicity on the other side of complexity. So next thing we want to do is get some of these drums in. So first, let's get a nice big fat meaty kick. Oh, we need to name this bad boy, don't we? Skrillex and Fred again and I can't remember the other guy's name. But what are we going to call this? Skrillex. Ooh, crazy sprites and stuff. We are going to call this Pixels and Bitmaps in homage to his sprites and pixies or whatever it was called. Can't remember. Pixels and Bitmaps. That's what we're going to call it. It's too late. It's done. Right, now let's get a big fat kick. I'll go to my favorite kicks, I think. We'll go to the EDM Tips kick pack, which is updated for accelerator students on the regular. Okay. That's cool. That's got a nice acoustic kind of sound. So now we actually need to use the kick drum in the normal way that you would use a kick drum to make the beat rather than just the bass. So we're only going to use one big kick, and then we are going to have another kick, creating more texture as well. I think this one. So we're going to layer these up like this. Dun, dun, dun. And all the fun happens on these 16ths with the metronome. No, that's not the rhythm I wanted, but it's almost there. Yeah, I think that's the right place. And we could find a different kick for this. We want something with character, so it's going to complement that main kick. So that's pretty much it for the kick. Now we need to get the rim shot and the other drum samples in there. So let's look in my favorite packs. I prepared one earlier called, I think, the Skrillex rim snare, so we're going to use that. Now listen, you can actually hear there's a few different sounds layered in this. There's like a rim shot and a tambourine and maybe a snare as well. So that's going to be our main snare. So we can just put it on every other downbeat like that. So it's all about this simplicity. Let's just take these both down so we're not running into any clipping issues. Okay, let's just double that up as well, just duplicate that. And next thing we want to do is create some real interest and kind of really sparkly, nice, crisp, clear drums using just very few elements. And it's all about what you don't include as much as what you do include. So we don't want anything really fighting with this, but what we are going to do is add some interest with some rim shots. And we're going to make a little roll now, which is in the track that we're actually referencing. So the easiest way to do it is just search my samples. I'll go rim and see what we've got. I like this one. Just bring that in. And we're going to create this little roll like so. Now at the moment with this roll, you just cannot hear for some reason. Why is that not playing? Probably because I programmed it in the wrong place. There. So this rim shot at the moment is all the same volume. So what we can do is if we have got the velocity assigned to the volume, that means if we draw a lower velocity on some of these notes like so, we're actually going to have a volume change rolling up to the louder one like this. Like so. It's already heavy blood. Okay, now we need to get some hi-hats in there. And once again, I'm going to use careful layering, and that's to create this really cool Skrillex stereo width that he's amazing at as well, just creating these incredible stereo width in his tracks. So for instance, we could actually bring in another rim shot like this, program it in exactly the same place, And then we can have one panned left and one panned right a bit. It's going to create the stereo width. The next thing I want to show you how to do is create more interest in the drums without actually adding extra drums. And that's by sending out certain hits to an auxiliary channel to add things like reverb and delay. So we're going to do that with this main snare as well. We're going to open up this routing. I'm going to go create return chain, and I'm going to use the second auxiliary channel I've got here, which is a full reverb, so a nice long reverb. We can now dial this back. And we can see here now we've got the send control showing. So for the main clap, I'm going to show automation in new lane. And what I'm going to do is just every other snare. In fact, I'll do it for the first snare. I'm just going to feed out this snare to the auxiliary channel. Just every other snare though, so it doesn't happen on everyone. So now with our reverb, it sounds like this. Instant yes. So we can dial that back a bit, but hear how much crispier and fresh those drums sound already. That's cool. Anyway, let's get those trap drums in there. Oh, now I'm getting excited, see. Slow start, get excited. Right, what's the other thing that he always does? He pushes the tools. So he brings the energy and he pushes the tools. He uses what he's got. He gets the most from it through experimentation of using parameters that you wouldn't expect to use, especially when it comes to synth sound design, which we're going to get to soon. So let's just program in these 16th hats. I'll have a little roll at the beginning, I think, but I'm going to have it on triplet mode to make it really trappy. Like so. Just a little short roll, just for the first beat, like so. And then we'll continue as normal. I think we'll just use eighths actually. So we'll just have that beat on every eighth, because we don't want those 16th hats kind of fighting with our nice 16th sub rumble bass. So we'll just do this. And we're going to tighten this up as well. So I don't want to play this whole sample. I'm just going to find the bit that I want and tighten it up. Exactly the same as we did with that kick rumble bass. Excellent. Now let's get a normal, I think 808 hi-hat, closed hat. Let's just put 808. Perfect. And again, we are just going to layer this. So then we've got two drums doing exactly the same thing. One layered left, one layered right. And we can actually change the velocity of some of these as well to add more movement and interest. And this is a really important way to just get your drums really dynamic and moving with relatively few instruments and having it sound simple, but actually it's a little bit more complex than that. So as this one fades out, the other one, the other hi-hat, becomes by default more prominent because this one is quieter. So there's just more movement in the whole sequence. And we'll just repeat that pattern as well, I think. Excellent, sounding cool already. Okay, magic list, what do you say to me? You say to me that we need another layer on the main snare, and that's what we're going to do. So this is, again, something that Skrillex is really cool at, just using little sounds that aren't really drum sounds. They could be anything like that, but it just adds extra depth. So I think we'll use that somewhere, that little click. Just every now and again though, so we could use it here. and then just have it come in slightly before the other drum. So it's just that tiny little glitch that comes in your left ear there, so to speak. And let's just copy that. And there's one more layer I want here, and it's that. It's like a drip. So let's plop that in like a drip and just turn it down. And having a sample pack like this is a Vengeance sample pack, by the way, but going onto Splice and just looking for little effects are really cool. Little one shots and things like that. Cool. This is kind of a future bass vibe as well there. Excellent, loving how that's sounding already. Last thing I want to do is add a tonal percussion. So this doesn't actually have to be a percussion. We can have a synth, but it's going to be doing the job of a percussion. And it's going to not only add to the rhythm section, but it's going to nail down what key this track is. It's going to mark that for people, because at the moment it's hard to tell what key this track is in. So I'm going to just create a synth from scratch. We're going to use an operator. I want to do everything using the stock plugins today, apart from that one Ozone thing, which is free, and I've linked to it below. I think that sounds pretty cool. So that's like a C sharp. So I think this track is going to be in C sharp minor. And we're going to add some vocals soon, and they're going to be trap vocals, so it doesn't really matter if they'll be rapped, so it doesn't matter which key it's in. So let's make this little tonal. I want something that sounds a bit like a boom, a sonar beat. So first we are going to get the shape of it correct. Let's add another texture. Let's experiment with that. That's cool. Maybe we choose a different second wave. Maybe a triangle. Let's just extend that as well. And now what I want to do is add a little bit of wobble on this to give it a bit of character. So the way that we can do that is increase the amount. And then increase the release of that LFO affecting the pitch. So that's obviously too much, sounds wobbly, but we just want a touch of that. And then the next thing we want to do is add a reverb to push it back in the mix and just have that be like a, yeah, like a submarine beep. That's cool. Let's take out some of those low frequencies. That's cool, just that even. So now we can put that on every other kick, and it's going to once again just add to that really interesting texture. Where is it? Where is it? There we go. We might have to bump that up in volume a bit. Turn the wobble down a touch. Excellent. So the last thing I want to do with that bass is add the kind of screechy top end to it. There's something else I could try with this. I want this to sound a bit more reverse. I'm going to try this with a reverse bass, and this low end work is so important because this carries the whole track. If you've seen the video and they're just dropping it in the club, and yeah, this track is all about the rumble. I mean, that sounds pretty cool, but let's just have a little experiment. Let's change this from a simpler to a sampler and then use reverse to have this second mid kick kind of be reversed like this. bit hard to hear at the moment. I need to increase the attack. It's really hard to dial in. Now it sounds reversed, right? But it's not going to be in time with this kick. So what I might do is open up this delay button, and because we've got a bit of an attack on this reverse kick that's hard to hear, I'm just going to extend this kick so we can hear what's going on. Let's just extend it so we can hear. So it's actually going zoom instead of boom. So to allow us to get that in time, I'm going to take this delayed signal here. If you open this D button, what it's going to do is push the entire track over by this amount of milliseconds and actually play it slightly before everything else. And that's the way that we can bring that slightly longer attack into sync with the rest of the track. So let's just try and dial that in, get it the right place. So it's, and it gives it that cool sucking feeling, which again just adds more interest. So let's listen to it now. Just so much interest and like ear candy in there already. And you know, we've barely got anything going on. It's just about choosing the right sounds and then using them in a clever way. So now we want to look at the next thing, which is the growl, the Skrillex growl. But this is a simple one we're going to do in this track. So again, we will just use the FM synth that comes with Ableton, frequency modulator synth, which is the operator. And our track is in C minor, so we're just going to hit the C sharp. The track is in C sharp minor, sorry. So we just need to hit the C sharp. And it's just going to play before the rumble because we don't want it fighting with the rumble. You could just like have it hitting that sub sign. That sounds sick already. But I don't want to do that. I want to have a slight growl. So let's work on this. I'm going to change the first oscillator to be a saw wave. So it's going to sound quite grungy. And then we are going to use a second oscillator, and I'm going to choose a different waveform. Let's use a square. And when we bring this level up, it's going to start affecting our A oscillator, which we can hear. Got that squelchy sound. So we want to change the attack. So the attack of that second oscillator opens up and kind of goes wow. Sounds weird. Why does it sound so weird? Okay, that's the saw wave. Now I want this to be a square wave. Maybe if I do it octave up, it's going to be easier to hear. I think it's just too low, maybe. So let's bring it up. Okay, we need zero release, that's for sure. Let's bring this up. So we can hear. It's getting that interesting effect where this oscillator is modulating the first oscillator. bit there. Nice. Okay, getting there, getting there. Next thing we want to do is work on the top kind of screechy sound that would go over the bass. And again, it's all layering in to this one sound, that but it's actually at least 3 layers, because we've got the rumble bass, we've got the mid bass, and now we're going to do this top screechy sound. And I think for this we will also use an operator just to keep things all in the Ableton stock plugins. And then we're going to create kind of tonal bell sound almost, like in that rumble track. So we'll just program the 16th rhythm in on the key of the track, which is the C sharp, like so. I want these to be quite short though, like so. And let's just repeat those in exactly the same place as the rumble bass. And I want to add a pitch bend here. So we're going to go mixer, and I'm going to go pitch bend. And if you're wondering which headphones I'm using, they're brand new actually. They're the HD 490 Pros. I got them from Sennheiser, and they're amazing. They sound fantastic and they're very comfortable. No, I'm not sponsored by them, but I love Sennheisers. For anyone who watches this channel, that you know I've been using them for 20 years or 15, 20 years, something like that. So yeah, these ones are brand new and they're really comfortable. I think they've just come out this month, so you can check them out using the link below. So something like that. Right, now let's tweak this sound and make it really something special, because it sounds really cheap at the moment. Again, we're going to use 2 oscillators. I think we'll try starting with saw wave again. And now we're starting to get that grittiness, that kind of Skrillex grittiness straight away. That's already sounding cool. Okay, let's just tweak that pitch bend a little bit. MIDI control, pitch bend. I just wanted to be a little bit smoother, so I'll just use this curve effect. Now let's tweak it up a bit, tighten it. And then what we're going to use is this wicked spread control, which is going to make it stereoized. Makes it sound really cool. So it's gone from that, which is very mono, to that, which has got some stereo interest. Okay, let's take down some of those top ends with the filter, add some drive. So we're getting some of that Skrillex grit now, which is what we want. Okay, next thing we want to do is tighten this up even further. I mean, we can add some saturator first to squelch it up. It's getting a bit loud now. So there's some movement and interest in that sound already. And now we want to really tighten this sound up. First thing we're going to do is smooth it using, I think, chorus. Let's use some chorus. That's going to smooth it out a little bit. Make it a bit wider as well. We can actually add some redux, which is bit crusher. Where would that be? Here we go, drive and color. Let's add a little bit of that. Which gives it that really nice kind of Skrillex character. Add a tiny bit of reverb straight on there, just because we are, just trying to smooth it down a little bit. You could use the room reverb on an auxiliary channel, but this works fine. And then the last thing I want to do Actually, second to last thing I want to do is just get rid of some of those frequencies. Make it really thin. And then the very last thing that we want to do is add some tremolo to this. Now the easiest, and that's basically where the volume goes up and down with an LFO. And it's just a fancy word for it. So what we're going to use for that is the auto pan, because what you can do is you can set it to 16ths. So let's set it to 16ths, turn it up. But instead of using it to actually auto pan left and right like this, which actually sounds really cool. So I might just leave it doing that actually. But what I was going to show is that you can put the phase to 0 and it's just going to make the volume go up and down. And this is going to add a little bit of attack to each 16th note, because at the moment it's going da, 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 da. Whereas this, if you look, you can see if we reduce the rate, you can see it's sine wave. So every hit is going to be starting here. So it's going to be going, yeah, 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 instead of da, 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 da. So again, it's just these small controls of the shape of the sound that's making all the difference. So this is where it was. And now it's here. So when we add it to the rest of the sound, that like initial bass is rubbish. So I'm going to redo the growl, but before we do that, I want to add the vocals. Now, Skrillex, again, is a master of collaboration. So he's collaborated with Diplo, he's collaborated with Justin Bieber, he's collaborated with loads of people, like for this track, Fred again. Being able to tap into other people's networks, just get fresh inspiration from other artists you respect is something that Skrillex does. You know, he's worked with The Doors. I think they're one of his favorite bands, you know, for Breaking a Sweat. He's worked with, that Marley bloke, can't remember his first name either. But yeah, so many collaborations, and it just means that he's always coming up with fresh new material, always inspired as well. So with that in mind, let's find some vocals. Now for this, I'm just going to use Splice, but you could use Loop Cloud, and I've got a link to both those services below. And if you do use them using my link, thank you, because it does help support the channel. But all I'm going to do for here is write trap vocals in and look for male trap vocals, and let's listen to some.
Flashback, thought you got mad, then he didn't crack that. In and out of Dolo,
Exactly.
when the new mask
Yes,
to the boys were on.
What, that? Yes, I'm having you, son. Get in. That was an unexpected delight. And this one here.
Smoke up, dash in the blem, free up the guys and dip out the.
Yeah, I'll have that. So,
in the blem, free up.
So we can see here, it's 146 BPM, this vocal stem. Oh, it's in C sharp minor. That's what the track's in. That was handy. It wouldn't really matter because it's rap, so there's no particular pitch. It's more tonal. But let's go in there and make sure it's warped correctly. So we're going to unwarp it, we're going to warp it, and then we're going to write in 146. And that should, well, it definitely will, make sure it's now in sync with our track. I'm going to change it to Complex Pro because that's the best warp algorithm for vocals, and let's have a listen to it.
Smoke up, dash in the blem, free up the guys and dip out the ends. Jump in the ride and burn out the rims, don't stop, don't catch the boy that I'm in. Smoke up, dash in the blem, free up the guys and dip out the ends. Jump in the ride and burn out the rims, don't stop, don't catch the boy that I'm in. Everyone's in the block with the up for events. Skin kept close cause you plotting on them with the tints on 10.
Yes.
Back in the back, that's on tap, all ready to go and jump in.
So next thing I want to do is grab that other vocal sound I got. Where was it? That's amazing. I love it. So we're going to find a place for that. It just fits so well.
Smoke up, dash in the blem, free up the guys and dip out the ends. Jump in the ride and burn out the rims, don't stop, don't catch the boy that I'm in. Block with the up for events. Skin kept close to be plotting on them with the tints on 10. Back in the back, that's on tap, all ready to go and jump in.
Boom, there you have it, guys. I'm going to do a little bit more work on this before you download it for free below this video. But did you get those 5 secrets of Skrillex's success? Let's go through them. 1, he brought the aggressive energy from his background in metal bands into the EDM space. The drive and the vision was kind of similar in some ways, but it was just the medium that changed. So think about that. What could you bring from other genres into electronic dance music? 2, he pushes the tools to the limit. How does he do that? 3. By experimentation. If you can use creative sounds in ways that you wouldn't usually expect, like instead of a snare, can you replace that with the sound of someone kicking a ball? Or can you apply LFOs and envelopes to parameters on a synth or a sampler that you wouldn't usually expect? And then how can you use effects chains to bring all that together? The experimentation is one of the most fun parts of music production. Number 4, he goes for simplicity on the other side of complexity. Even if you listen to his older music, there's always one very simple or strong core idea, rhythmic pattern or melody, and then through careful sound manipulation, programming, composition, and layering, he brings just 1 or 2 simple ideas per track to life. And that is one of the key hallmarks of a professional sounding producer. Simplicity on the other side of complexity. And number 5, Skrillex has had some incredible collaborations with other EDM artists, pop artists, rap artists, which not only expand his listener base, but also keeps inspiration fresh and allows new ideas to percolate in a creative environment. And one of those huge collaborations, like with the track we've been looking at today, has been with Fred Again, one of the biggest artists of the last couple of years, and I've created a video right there where I uncover some of Fred Again's production secrets that I haven't shared in any other video. If you enjoyed this, please consider subscribing to my channel. I really appreciate it, and don't forget to download the project file for free below. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you over at that next video.